Columbus has all their Blue Jackets in one place this week. That's right. It's the start of training camp, which means the season officially begins here on Locked On Blue Jackets.
You're Locked On Blue Jackets, your daily podcast on the Columbus Blue Jackets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Blue Jackets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Hayden Houshorn. With me is my co-host, Jay Foster. We're here to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of your favorite team and ours, the Columbus Blue Jackets. Before you go, and we want to thank you for making this your first listen every day. Locked On Blue Jackets is free and available on all podcast platforms, YouTube, and the SiriusXM app. I said at the beginning of this, it's the start of the season. But Jay and I will probably say that like 20 more times before the season actually starts. But it does, man. Every time, I feel like Traverse City last week was the real first start because that's when hockey is happening. People are wearing Blue Jackets jerseys. They might just be practice jerseys. But nonetheless, the team is getting ready for the season that's coming up here on October 12th when the Flyers come to town. But we have scrimmages and practices this week. 73 players at the Ice House today, starting at 9:30 to 1:45. 3 groups. I'm sure that will be open to the public. So if you are one of those lucky people that has the day off and has a chance to go see that, I highly encourage you to go do that. Because again, all the players in the organization on one sheet. This kind of is like, if you're a Blue Jackets fanatic, if you are locked on Blue Jackets like we are here, and this is your first listen every day, this is kind of your dream rink session, right? Come on. All the guys, all the flash, all the skill, you'll get to see it all. And then we got preseason games this week. Sunday, split squad game, 1 o'clock. Half the team is going to be in Pittsburgh. And then 7 o'clock, the other half of the team will be at Nationwide. You know how that thing goes. Fun. This is it, Jay. The season's here. And some things have happened. But, sure, the Blue Jackets will be with one less coach on the ice. But I think the Blue Jackets are better for that. And I'm really happy to see what Pascal Vincent has cooked up for these guys. And I think it's going to be fun. I think there's probably going to be a lot of energy at these practices and scrimmages because the Blue Jackets historically are a team that does not really have their opening lineup completely set. We have a really good idea, and the spots are fewer and far between than ever, really, but they're there. And there's always like Cole Sillinger had a really good camp 2 years ago and was the talk of the town. So I'm very interested to see which players kind of rise through the list this year. Do you want to go through the list, Jay?
Yeah, I don't think we won't go through the entire list necessarily because, like you said, there's 72, 73 players,
73,
which is like 30 more players than I estimated because I forgot that there are approximately 700 Blue Jackets at any given moment in time. But yeah, this is going to be such an interesting training camp. I talked about this on Tuesday's episode with Dean Weinheimer of AHL News Now about how heavy the competition is going to be. Because you look and there's like maybe 4 or 5 spots that are not locked in and maybe 15 guys competing for those spots. It's going to be tough. It's going to be brutal. A couple of names that just scrolling through, Justin Danforth is going to be healthy. I'm sure he's going to be competing for a spot. Dmitry Voronkov coming into town from Russia. Alexander Texier is going to be fighting for his roster spot back. Like Igor Chinikov, Cole Sillinger. There are so many players on this list that are going to be fighting for that spot. Treyfix Wolanski, I'm expecting to have a really good camp in the hopes that he can pull something together and he can figure out a way to get into the NHL because I think he's deserved that look at this point. And that's not even getting into the defense where, David Jiricek is going to be competing for a spot. I think Denton Matejchuk could potentially be competing for a spot. He's not quite old enough to hit the AHL. He'll be going back to the WHL if he doesn't make the roster, but I'm expecting him especially from what I saw from Traverse City, which we'll probably talk about in a little bit here, Denton Matejchuk might be NHL ready. And that's really exciting. And it's a really good problem to have where I'm like, oh no, we have too many good young players fighting for spots here. And it sucks that some of them are probably going to end up in the AHL. Some of them are going to end up back with Major Junior or wherever. But this is really, really exciting. If you're a Blue Jackets fan, you should be excited about this.
Yeah, I think we definitely all are, especially because it's kind of one of those things where when your team is the center of hockey, of world hockey news, and it's not really a bad thing, you kind of feel like you kind of get the ick from your team for a bit. Like, yeah, I don't want to think about the Blue Jackets right now. Like, no, I don't want to talk. People usually that know that you're a Blue Jackets fan come up to you in public and are like, hey, what's going on with the Blue Jackets? Like, now they want to talk to you about the Blue Jackets. Not when you drafted Adam Fantilli, who is my player that I'm the most excited to see, which is going to be everybody. So we'll have a different answer, but he's going to be on the ice. Getting this whole Babcock thing out of the way, seeing the players on the ice will be a breath of fresh air for Jackets fans, and it's coming at a great time. At the time it's supposed to be coming, right? It's supposed to be happening right now when you start to get excited, when your friends who aren't really fully into being a Blue Jackets fan start to get excited. This is good. This is good. 73 players. That is a whole ton. And there's so many guys that have just been kind of kicked to the curb. Even when we talk about do these guys have a chance, we don't even list guys like Hunter McCown, who I thought had a really good Traverse City, Carson Meyer, who has been he didn't have a good Traverse City because he didn't go, but he's been a guy who's been sneakily, I think, a really good pro the last few years that I think maybe deserves more time, that he probably won't get it because there's just so many other guys like Cat Texier coming back. What does his game look like after a year away from NHL ice? That's what I'm really excited to see. Obviously excited to see Luca Pinelli, a young buck who we've had on this show. He'll be up there with the guys. It's going to be fun. Trade Fix Wolanski. Yeah, a million guys that I'm excited about. I just listed mostly forwards there. But Denton Matejchuk, yeah, what a Traverse City that guy had. I mean, I think his first goal he scored, which was the only one I really saw, was a little trickler into the net. But I'm like, oh man, is his stick going to be hot this year? Because he then stayed hot the rest of Traverse City, and I'm just getting goosebumps hearing you say that hit. I heard you say Denton Matejchuk, and for a second I was like, yeah, we already know David Juracek's a good hockey player, and I'm like, wait, no, that's not who he said.
The other first round
Matejchuk, yes, the other
and
first
that's not
round
even
pick.
bringing into account, guys like Corson Ceulemans, who I also thought had a pretty good Traverse City, but correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah. I believe the top three scorers for the entire Traverse City across all teams were Jordan Dumais, Adam Fantilli, and Denton Matejchuk. And that should just excite every single Blue Jackets fan, because two of those guys likely aren't going to be on the roster this season. Jordan Dumais is going to go back to the queue, which I'm fine with at this point, frankly. Denton Matejchuk, I think, probably is more NHL ready than Dumais, but he might go back as well just because they have no room on defense. I don't know. Adam Fantilli is the only one there that I'm expecting to see in a Blue Jackets jersey. And so now I'm like, okay, now I've got to wait for these other guys. And I feel like there's no end to exciting Blue Jackets prospects. And I know every single fan of every single team overvalues their own prospect pool, but we've been told repeatedly the Blue Jackets have a top 3 prospect pool in this league. And training camp is probably the best place to see that at work, because everyone, except I believe the NCAA guys that haven't signed their ALCs, so no William Whitelaw, no Gavin Brindley, no James Fisher, for example. They are all at their respective NCAA or BCHL training camps / regular seasons, but everyone else is there. And that's really, really exciting.
Yeah. No, it's completely exciting. And some Blue Jackets that are new, that are also not young, like Damon Severson. He's going to be on the ice for the first time. Ivan Provorov, will be fun to see guys like him kind of come into the mix and battle against all these young players. I'm sure this is like, if you're a vet, this is probably like one of the worst things ever, right? Like if you know that your position's locked up, you're probably like, oh, now I got to deal with all these knuckleheads that are trying to make
now.
a
Yeah,
spy.
now I got to deal with all of these teenagers for the next 5 days.
Yeah, but it's gonna be really fun to witness. So again, 9:30 today is when things get going. If you've already missed that time, well, it's going on until 1:45. So head on down to the Ice House to check that out, or check it out on Live Barn, like I like to do. Live Barn's a great place to, when they let you. Sometimes the team is it Dan Singleton still? That's the video coach. Sometimes he's probably the GOAT coach, by the way. The amount of times where
MVP.
play happens and Dan Singleton's like, actually, that was offsides. We don't give him his flowers enough, but every time his name comes up, I think about it. All right, let's take a break, and when we get back, we'll keep talking, keep sifting through these rosters, see if there's any exciting names, and maybe even talk a little bit more about this preseason game coming up and just anything else that's going on. That's coming up next here on Locked On Blue Jackets. Next, I got to tell you guys about our partner at AG1, the daily foundational nutrition supplement that supports a whole body health. I drink it literally every day, guys. I gave AG1 a try because I was tired taking so many supplements and wanted that single solution that supports my entire body, covers all the nutritional bases every single day. I wanted better gut health. I wanted a boost in energy. I wanted some immune system support. I hated taking pills and vitamins and just wanted a drink that actually tastes great. So now I drink AG1 in the morning before I work out, and it makes me feel unstoppable. Makes me feel like I'm ready to take on my day, like I'm doing something good for my body, like I'm giving my body the nutrition it craves. So if a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, then try AG1. Get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/NHL Network. That's drinkag1.com/NHL Network. Check it out. All right, it's training camp day here in Columbus. Very exciting. The most Blue Jackets that have been gathered since Gettysburg. Really, it's awesome. So it really is crazy. Like I don't understand. Like it is shocking, Jay, for those who have ever been to training camp. Back when I was in college, I had a little more free time during the day just because of my class schedule. So I made it out to one of these. It is like you feel like there's no room on the ice. There's so many big body NHL players on it. And but it is so fun and so interesting to see the raw competition go on between these guys who are like it depending on how they perform at these couple of ice sessions that they're getting here could determine like hundreds of thousands of dollars for them. So there is a lot on the line for these guys. For those that like hockey, for the pureness of it, again, it's a fantastic place to go. But what are some what's one player that you're that is on the bubble that you're really pushing for? Like if you had a bunch of magical hockey power to gift this person, if you could gift this person Wayne Gretzky's stick tomorrow for their rink session and be like, here you go. Who are you giving it to? Who needs it?
Oh man, that's a difficult question. I don't think he needs it, but if I could put one player just over the hump, I think it's got to be David Jiricek. I want him to make the show so badly. I think he's ready. I don't think he learns anything from tearing the AHL into tiny little pieces for another year. I know that there's no such thing as like overdevelopment for an NHL defenseman, especially one who is literally 19 years old. But I'm looking at the list of defensemen at training camp, and I'm like, yeah, David Jiricek is one of the 6 best defensemen at training camp. And it's going to be so frustrating because, like we talked about, there's so few spaces. There's like 2 free spaces on defense for 5 players. And I don't know if he makes it. I don't know if he gets over that bubble. Nick Blankenburg is another option. I would love for him to make the opening night roster, but I don't think he will, just because, again, they have a billion defensemen. And then actually one guy that I would gift Wayne Gretzky's stick to, Cole Sillinger. Cole Sillinger needs to have a monster training camp. And he might be the player that I'm most excited about in the post Brad Larson era, because I want to know how much of last season was due to Brad Larson's inefficient coaching methods when it came to young players. Pascal Vincent has a track record of working with young players. He was an incredibly successful QMJHL coach, very successful AHL coach. I liked what he did in a couple of games last year that he was running the bench. So I'm excited to see how he works with Cole Sillinger to kind of help him get his groove back. But yeah, if I could give it to one person, I think Cole Sillinger's the guy, I think, that is maybe on the bubble.
Yeah. Cole Sillinger, definitely a player that's kind of been on the Blue Jackets roller coaster for a couple of years. Right? Like he started off that training camp 2 years ago and was like, oh my gosh, this is the center of our dreams. This is a young Sidney Crosby. Like we were so excited for him. And then he had a great rookie season. And then last year was just Well, he was in Columbus. He played good while he was with the Monsters, but it's just when he was in Columbus, it wasn't great. He can't even buy a legal drink downtown yet. So it's like he still has so much time to develop as a player. And yes, the number change, he switched from number 34 to 4. Maybe that'll do it. Maybe just that will be enough. I don't know if I believe in that. I think some people do, but I'd like to see Dmitry Voronkov have a really good camp. He's a player that I hear so much about, and when I do see flashes of him, I'm like, oh yeah, this could be really exciting. He's wearing the number 10, which is a pretty big hockey number. Just pretty big sports number, so I'm pretty excited about that. I'm just reading you the numbers just in case you guys show up there and are like, wait, I don't know who any of these players are.
It takes me a solid 2 or 3 weeks every season to be like, who's that guy? Who's that guy? Why is he a different number? Cole Sillinger is number 4. It's going to take a minute to get used to.
Definitely.
Especially because I believe that was Gavrikov had 4 last season.
Yes.
So that'll take a minute. I'll be like, why is Gavrikov here? Nope, not Gavrikov, Cole Sillinger. But
Liam Foodie, I think it's like, dude, like there's people in your class that are surpassing you. And you were the first one drafted in this organization in that draft. So you need to go. And I still think there is a lot in the tank for a Liam Foodie. I'd like to give him Wayne Gretzky stick. If I could give Sergei Fedorov's white Nike skates to Hunter McCown, I'd like him to fly out there. I just love Hunter McCown. I think he had a really good Traverse City. I think he carries the puck with so much confidence. And he seems to be friends with with Ken Johnson and Zach Werenski because they skated together in the offseason. So I kind of like that for the vibes. And he's not a Michigan guy. So it's like he's friends with all of them, but he's not a Michigan guy. He went to Colorado College.
Together even.
Yes.
Even outside of Michigan, yeah.
Yeah. Luca Del Bel Belouz, this is his second camp. So what do you got? Let's see it. Yeah, we have another Luca drafted, so we're putting the pressure on you, Del Bel Belouz. You're not the only one.
You got to be the best Luca now, not the only Luca.
Yes. Yeah.
There's a couple of guys as well that I thought had pretty solid, quietly solid Traverse City that were free agent invites. So Oasis Weisblatt is one of them. His older brother is a pick out of. He's a San Jose draft pick, Ozzy Weisblatt, and I thought he had a quite good, quiet Traverse City. And another guy is, although I hate to admit it because we already have a billion defensemen, Gunnar Kinneberg, I thought was very good in his Traverse City showing. And they both earned training camp invites off the back of Traverse City, so that's a good sign. But those guys, I think I'm not necessarily the most excited to see them, but I am interested to see more from them.
All right. Yes.
Oh, I was just going to say, because we've seen players get invited to training camp and get contract out of it. I'm thinking Jack Reeves specifically was a free agent invite because they didn't have any goalies that were eligible for Traverse City that year. And then he signed his entry-level contract that same season. So that's the end of my point. We can move on.
No, we want him to have a job. Gunnar, we want you to come here and earn a job. That's awesome. Again, hundreds of thousands of dollars on the line for all of these individuals. It sucks that they have to go against each other, but hey, I mean, all 30. Are there 32 teams in the league now? All 32 teams are dealing with that. Holy crap. In a second, we're going to take another break. And when we come back, a couple more players. There's even more guys as I'm reading through this list that I want to have a really good camp. We will go over the rest of those names and then send you on your merry way in just a second here on Locked on Blue Jackets. All right, next I got to tell you guys about Birddogs. Number one, Birddogs make you look good. The Birddogs stretch khaki shorts are designed to fit slimmer through the thigh, giving you a truly sculpted look. Birddog shorts do the exact same thing as Lululemon, but they fit way better. They fit way better than regular shorts that are made of that stiff, restricting cotton. I went to a NASCAR race this past weekend, and I had Birddogs walking around, a lot of walking, obviously, because I was tailgating. So we had about a 20-minute walk to the stadium. I felt great in my Birddogs. They're great for any other function as well. If you like to golf, if you're taking a pretty girl or gal out on a date, and they're good at the pool, good for working out, good for lounging. Birddogs are an awesome short, even though summer is coming to an end. The weather's still nice. Get yourself some Birddogs. You will look great in them. Go to birddogs.com/lockedon NHL or enter the promo code LOCKEDONNHL at checkout for a free Birddog water bottle with your order. That's birddogs.com/lockedonnhl for a free water bottle at checkout. You won't want to take your Birddogs off. We promise you. Okay, so now I'm going to go into Martin Brodeur's closet, and I'm going to grab his glove, and I'm going to hand his glove to Aaron Dell, and I'm going to take his blocker and give it to Daniel Tarasov. Because I want these two guys to have good – I want them to have good camps. I think Elvis is going to have a good camp. I feel like based off how he did last season, he's not going to need any help being motivated going into this season. I want Daniel Tarasov to look really good, the same goalie that he's been consistently, which is fundamentally great. But I want Aaron Dell to just not give up a goal at all. Like, I want him to put some heat on the goalies that are in the lineup already. And I just want that extra option, Jay. We've talked about this all offseason. Like, we need help at that position. And Aaron Dell is probably the most serious chance of these guys that we've brought on to this camp to make it. But what say you to that? You think if we got Brodeur's glove out for I don't know if he's left-handed. Actually, I don't know what hand Martin Brodeur even used because I'm not I'm bad on the left hand, right hand. Yeah, that was a Hayden doesn't know puck moment. But who for you? Who are there any extra players out there that you're like, I need this guy to get over the hump? Or what do you feel about Aaron Dell? Do you think he has a chance at making the lineup?
I don't know that he has a chance at making the lineup. I could see him signing a two-way deal and being that third goalie that kind of floats in between. And he's the injury cover guy. You know, the Blue Jackets were so injured last season. I'm going to knock on wood just because I have to. I'm not superstitious. I'm just a little stitious. But the Blue Jackets were so injured last season and they really didn't have any options in goal apart from like pulling Jet Greaves up to make his NHL debut in like his second full AHL season. You know, Aaron Dell is a guy that was a very good presence for the San Jose Barracuda of the AHL last season. He was good when they called him up to the Sharks for, again, as injury cover, etc. And I think he will stabilize the position a little bit. And something else, I talked about this with Dina on Tuesday, is sometimes you just need an old veteran guy to hang out and be the babysitter for the kids. Like the Blue Jackets, Elvis aside, every other Blue Jacket is a baby. Elvis born in 1994, Tarasov born in 1999. Jet Grease, born in 2001, Pavel Chayan, born in 2002, and Nolan Lalonde, who will be going back to the OHL this season, was born in 2004, which makes me feel a million years old. They need an adult that is not the starting goalie because Elvis has to look after himself this season. He can't be the dad. They need a guy like Aaron Dell to come and just be that veteran guy to support Nick Backstrom as the goalie coach and to float between the NHL and the AHL as needed. So yeah, I'm really hopeful for Aaron Dell. I don't think it's the flashiest or the most exciting signing, but I think quietly it might be a really important one for the Blue Jackets just to get. Even if it's not Aaron Dell, even if they end up signing some other random veteran goalie, but I think Aaron Dell was the best option out there, and I'm really excited that the Blue Jackets agreed with us on this. Because if you'll remember, I believe we talked about Aaron Dell on a Monday episode, and then on Thursday they signed him to a PTO. So Jaume Kekalainen, I know you're out there. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. Just don't listen to me on coaching on who you should hire as your next coach. Yeah, no, that's absolutely fantastic. I think Jarmo, to his credit, did do a good job dealing with what he what am I trying to say here? He did a good job managing that room to my liking, to the point where I feel like he did enough to help it out. He brought a new coach in there, Nicholas Backstrom, and he's giving Aaron Dell a chance. Could the Blue Jackets have done more? Yeah, but I'm glad that room got the attention that it needed, and mostly in that they hired Nicholas Backstrom. I think that's going to be a huge addition for that room. Obviously, he won't. I'm sure he'll be on the ice tomorrow or around the ice, but that's not why you're going. But needless to say, his presence will help the team. Aaron Dell just being around will help the team. Even if it's just for training camp. If he doesn't make the Blue Jackets organization, again, I think his presence with these guys in these next few days can sometimes be enough to impact the player or help them, maybe he can give them a piece of advice, or maybe these players can pick something off of what Aaron Dell does that can propel them on their way into the future and into a successful Blue Jackets season, because the Blue Jackets were terrible at goaltender last year. I get excited looking at this roster, though, because I'm Damon Severson, Nick Blankenberg, Zach Werenski, Ivan Provorov. The Jackets have so much help at defense now, and they have so many guys that got a lot of experience last year that could that could come out of nowhere. We've kind of shoved off Jake Christensen. We've kind of shoved off Billy Sweezy. We've just pushed those guys to the side. Samuel Nasco, we've pushed him off. Which one of these guys are going to be the guys that step up, that made a big jump from year one to year two? That's what I'm interested to see. So yeah, again, the vibes are going to be good. The vibes are going to be great, actually, because they've been terrible the last few days. There's no doubt. But seeing players on the ice, watching them compete against each other, and just kind of picking apart their games and finding good things that we might like is always exciting, because we know so much about these players already, Jay. But there's also so much that we don't know, So it's going to be exciting few days. That's all I have on the training camp. Do you got any more thoughts, any predictions? I say let's sweep Pittsburgh this weekend. Sunday, even though it's just preseason games, if the Blue Jackets go 2-0 against Pittsburgh, that's going to be I'm going to go to sleep feeling really good.
Yeah. My guess is that it will be veteran heavy at Nationwide, and they'll send the kids to Pittsburgh. But yeah, I feel good about it. I just want to finish off with hey guys, quick reminder. Adam Fantilli is a Blue Jacket.
We didn't say his name enough here.
We didn't say I don't think we said his name at all in this episode, and that feels wrong. He's gonna be taking to Nation. I'm assuming they'll play him at Nationwide for his preseason debut, because that's what the fans want. That's what everyone wants, and I'm really, really excited. First and second line center, Adam Fantilli, Patrick Laine. Let's go.
Yeah, as you said that, we're talking about Blue Jackets players and doing their season reviews, we gave some of them that we gave Kent Johnson, we coined him box office, but Adam Fantilli actually is box office for preseason games because there's so much intrigue around him, and he looks so good in Traverse City. I know Blue Jackets fans out there are scrolling on Instagram and you're seeing Connor Bedard highlights and you're like, yeah, that guy looks pretty good, but we may have gotten a better player. That's just like where it starts, right? That's the initial start of what is hopefully an actual true statement. We'll find out. I want to read the Blue Jackets preseason schedule real quick, just so our fans here can know when might be a good chance to go. So Sunday, Blue Jackets at Nationwide, 7:00 against the Penguins. Tuesday, they're on the road, just one game in St. Louis, and then they're also on the road again Saturday that week. So a huge gap between Tuesday and Saturday. They are in Buffalo and then back home Monday, October 2nd against the Blues, and then October 4th against the Sabres. And then they finish up the preseason October 5th against the Capitals. So almost here, guys. It's happening. And again, 4 games there that you can go watch the Blue Jackets play. So thank you so much for listening to today's episode. Thank you for making it your first listen every single day. Tomorrow, we are going to be reacting to what happens on the ice today. Between those 3 sessions, we'll have kind of maybe more of an idea of who is NHL ready and who is not, and maybe even some of the players that we listed today, maybe we feel differently about them. So tune in tomorrow to find out about that one. We also are doing a happy hour tomorrow night at 6:00. Those are always fun. When Jay and I get together with you guys get a chance to chime into the conversation. It's a great chance for that. Again, thank you for making this your first listen every day. Locked on Blue Jackets is free and available on all podcast platforms, YouTube, and the SiriusXM app. My name is Hayden Househorn. You can find me on Twitter at HaydenH971. You can find Jay Foster on Twitter at _JAKOBFORSTER. You can find the show on Twitter at LO_Blue Jackets. You can also email the show directly, lockedonbluejackets@gmail.com. Thank you once again for listening. And until tomorrow, make sure you stay locked on.